Social Security is going bankrupt. Social Security is depleted. The money's gonna run out. These are the headlines we're seeing, so let's talk about it. My name's Stephen Maxwell, financial advisor and certified financial planner with Harford Retirement Planners. And I want to talk to you a little bit about all the different headlines and news articles we're seeing around Social Security recently. So there was a recent analysis done that Social Security is going to be depleted by 2032. But that doesn't really tell the whole story. So let's dig into it a little bit and take a look at what Social Security actually is and what it means when they're saying that Social Security is going to be depleted by 2032. So Social Security has two main components, how it's funded. The first is through payroll taxes. The second is through the Social Security Trust Fund. So first, let's talk about payroll taxes. How does that work? So right now, about 75 to 85% of all Social Security benefits that are paid out are funded through payroll deductions. So what does that mean? That means that those of us who are working have 12.4% deducted from our paycheck each pay period for Social Security benefits. Now, half of that is paid by us and half of that is paid by our employers. What does that mean? That 12.4% that's deducted from our paychecks goes right through to help fund Social Security benefits for Social Security recipients. That right there should be like a sigh of relief, because that means that even if Social Security becomes depleted or goes bankrupt, 85% of benefits will still be paid just through payroll deductions. The part that people keep talking about that's going to be depleted is the Social Security Trust Fund, so the second part of Social Security. Social Security Trust Fund you can think of as kind of like the savings account for the Social Security Administration. When they're paying out benefits and there's a shortfall from payroll deductions, the way they supplement that benefit is from the Social Security Trust Fund, which essentially is a large savings account which is invested in U.S. government treasuries that are very safe. This makes sense because we went through a period of time, the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, where the baby boomers were working and contributing a significant amount to Social Security. At that point, Social Security benefits that were being paid out were less than those benefits being paid in. That created a surplus. So what the government did is they established the Social Security Trust Fund, where they were able to invest that surplus, help it grow a little bit over time in very safe investments, like I said, U.S. Treasuries, and then that money could be paid out later. Well, now as those baby boomers are all moving into retirement and starting to benefit from the Social Security program, we have more money going out than is actually coming in. So that trust fund is starting to run down a little bit. And that's where the depleted or Social Security going bankrupt is coming from. That headline is just a categorization of the state in which the Social Security Trust Fund is in. It's not the end of the world. There are some solutions on the table on how we fix this. I think the biggest thing from our perspective, we get a lot of feedback from clients and we almost always get this question of, when should I take Social Security? Is Social Security going to run out? What are my benefits going to look like 20 years from now? If I was on the other side of the table in a client seat who's getting ready to start Social Security, I would take a lot of peace of mind in the confidence that there's a significant amount of my Social Security benefits that are coming right from payroll deductions. There's only a small amount that's being supplemented from the Social Security Trust Fund that is apparently going to be running out in 2032. So what are some of the proposed changes that we have for improving the health of the trust fund so that it will have more longevity to it? The first is an increase in payroll taxes. So like I mentioned, right now we have 12.4% of our taxes that are going towards Social Security funding. Half of that paid by us, half of that paid by our employers. We could see a marginal increase in that amount of tax. That could help to improve the shortfall from the trust fund. Less demand on the trust fund because more of Social Security benefits would be coming from that payroll tax piece. The other is potential increase to full retirement age. So anybody who's looked into Social Security knows Social Security has what's called full retirement age. For most people at this point, it's going to be 67 years old. They could bump that up to 68, 69, 70 over time, which again would delay some people from starting Social Security benefits and again help reduce the burden on that Social Security Trust Fund. Arguments to be made on both sides of that. People are living longer, so starting Social Security later could be a better option because we're going to have to pay out for a longer period of time. An argument against that is some people don't work in jobs where they can continue working until 68, 69, 70. It's just physically feasible for them. I don't know how likely that option is, but it's certainly one that's on the table. The other is to potentially decrease future benefits. Majority of what we're hearing is possibly through cost of living adjustments over time. So maybe cost of living adjustments over time are not as robust as they have been in years past. The other thing we could potentially see is similar to how we have income tax brackets. We could see that if you have so much money coming from other sources besides Social Security and you're not reliant on that benefit, perhaps we could see a reduced, 85% payout rate for those who are in higher tax brackets. These are all just ideas that are being thrown around right now. There's nothing that has legs to it per se. But again, there are small changes that can be made to the Social Security program that will help lessen the burden on that Social Security trust fund, which is what we're primarily talking about when we say that Social Security is going to be depleted. I think kind of the takeaway again from all of this is, yes, there is a shortfall to Social Security right now. We have more benefits being paid out than benefits that are going into Social Security, which creates a larger draw on that Social Security trust fund. Do I think it is as extreme as Social Security is going bankrupt or depleted? Absolutely not. I think Social Security is in a bit of a deficit, and we just need to make a couple of small changes along the way that will help correct that deficit and give Social Security the longevity that it needs to continue to be such a significant program for our retirees. That being said, the majority of retirees rely heavily on Social Security. I believe the figure is around 75% rely on Social Security as their primary income source, which is very significant. So it's a very important program, and we hope that in the future, our lawmakers and everybody in Congress and in Washington, D.C. will help us make those necessary changes to make sure that Social Security is around for a very long time. We don't have any cause for concern on our end from a planning standpoint. There's nothing that gives us pause in including Social Security in retirement planning scenarios because we think there's not enough longevity to it. So we're going to continue to use that as part of our planning tools. And I think that you all should have at least a little bit of peace of mind, hopefully from watching this video, knowing that the majority of Social Security benefits are coming right from payroll taxes and not from the Social Security Trust Fund. So even if the Social Security Trust Fund does run out of money at some point, there's still a significant amount of your benefits, the majority of which are being paid through payroll taxes. So there's going to be very small changes, if any, to Social Security in the future. Thanks for watching. Again, Stephen Maxwell with Harford Retirement Planners. If you have questions about your own Social Security benefits, when you should start them, anything like that, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to sit down and have an appointment with you. Thank you for watching.